Greetings, my fellow Africans and the entire world. Once again, I come into your homes and your minds with a message of empowerment and enlightenment, all the way from the African Mental Emancipation Movement. The African Mental Emancipation Movement is a movement that was set up for the complete and total emancipation of the African minds from mental slavery, as observed by Marcus Garvey and sung by Bob Marley, that emancipate yourself from mental slavery. None but ourselves can free our minds. Marcus Garvey in particular stressed on the importance of the freeing of the African minds. And he observed that other people that we consider as masters, or those who were dominating us, could grant us the physical freedom. But it also comes to the truth and the point that without us freeing ourselves from mental slavery, that independence, that freedom will lead to nothing. And as a matter of fact, Marcus Garvey, it is right for us to say that he is and he was a prophet. Whatever he has said is a complete or has come through in the lives of the African people, regardless of where we find ourselves. And so now is the time, now is the hour for us to bring this noble mission or noble idea into a complete fruition, such that Africa will rise to take its place in the universe. As a matter of fact, we are not competing with anyone. We are not doing anything because of any other person, but we are emancipating ourselves on the grounds that we are complete human beings, and it is our divine right to emancipate ourselves and to develop ourselves by our minds, or by the complete and positive and constructive use of our minds, and also to offer our contribution to the development of humanity. So today, I am going to speak to you under the topic, Wake Up, Africans. Mind is the master. Mind rules the world. And this is going to be the 5th video or episode on this topic. But today, I am going to speak to you on a subtopic on this topic, as you cannot build a new life on an old mindset. And today, I would like us to go into nature and to take some lessons. We are supposed to look at whatever thing that surrounds us, and then we use that, or we draw lessons from that to conduct our lives. And that is why the writer of the book of Proverbs in the Bible says that go to the ant, you sluggard, learn his ways and be wise, and become wise. So if you go into nature, particularly those of us that do agriculture, there is a principle that no man or woman can ignore or circumvent. And the principle is that for you to be able to cultivate a plot of land, you must harvest the old crops and then clear all the weeds and other things that are on the plot for you to begin another process. If it is not a plot of land that has already been cultivated the previous year, then it is a command to the agriculturalist or the farmer to clear the weeds and prepare the land for cultivation. And so you cannot just get up all of a sudden and begin sowing your seeds or your crops amongst the weeds or the stalks of the previous year's harvest. You must clear the land. And that is what we call regeneration. In the same way, if you look at our lives, if you want to put up a new building, it will be delusional and a matter of what we call it? A matter of delusion and confusion for you to attempt to put up a new building upon an old one. The law or the principle that governs us in this area demands that you must first pull down the old one and then dig a new foundation and then build up upon it the new house or the building that you want to show to the world. And so this is just an example. If you look into our lives, nothing can be done except either a complete rebuild or regeneration. And so that is our lives. If you look at every human being, every group of people, we are like the trees. We are like all these things that we see. Our base is upon a group of people that came before us, our ancestors. Those who came through them that we also came here. Their thoughts, their emotions, everything that they have done was handed down onto us as our cultures, as our beliefs. And so we live and do everything in alignment with these thoughts. But as a matter of fact, if you look at the human existence, we are evolving. And therefore, the people who lived 100 years ago as Africans, though we come from them, or we came from them, we are not the same. We are new people in a new era because the human being's evolution has gone to a level that what we know, what we have experienced, and what we are still experiencing, they never knew it. And so, for us to be able to live and perform and function well in our era, there is the need for us to pull down the old things and then begin afresh. Or we do a regeneration such that we analyze the old, those that are not working for us, clear them, and then those that are working for us, we bring new ones and fuse them together such that we will get a new one that matches our current level of evolution. That is our life. And every group of people have done that. Any group of people that fail to do this, they remain where they are, or they don't move on. And so if you look at Africans, we appear to be those that are at a standstill, such that we lack this evolutionary regeneration or redevelopment of our societies, of our communities, our entire life. And all the time, we jump to compare ourselves with the Europeans because of the relationship that we had with them. They came to our lands, colonizers. And so we think after independence, we fought them and we liberated ourselves. After independence, we can also rise and to become like what they are. But as a matter of fact, that is a false premise. Because the human beings is an upward movement. And whatever thing that they have done on their side, it is clear to any man or woman who wants to face the truth that on our side, from the perspective of our forefathers, nothing of that sort happened in our lives. So the Europe and North America, and even the Asians that we are seeing, they went through a series of regeneration, redevelopment up to where they are now. And as someone who read political science and history at the University of Ghana, I read about all these things. And if you look at the historical events in Europe in particular, and if I don't want to go back, but I would just start from or begin from the time of Renaissance. The Renaissance age came in, and then it moved them to another level. After this age, then came the Reformation. After the Reformation age, they came to religious wars and absolutisms. Then after that, there came Enlightenment. After Enlightenment, there came revolutions. After revolutions, that we have the modern world, the modern Europe, upon which all of us have been dragged into based on our relationship with them. So if you look at the regeneration upon regeneration of the European personality, based on what they have implanted in their subconscious mind, they have done a lot, and they are well ahead of us. We just have to sit down and ask ourselves, what happened on our side in terms of deliberate, evolutionary working on our communities and society, bringing change and moving us forward such that we will not remain where we are. Nothing of that sort. Whatever change that has happened in the African life was something that was initiated or was imposed on us. And it was imposed on us because we were not moving, and therefore the universe or nature has no choice but to impose it on us. So the Europeans that came to actually be the actors to move us forward are not those who did it. It was by the work of a powerful force. If it is not, it wouldn't have happened. And so you will see that we are not moving forward because we lack this evolutionary attitude, that we look into our setup and begin to question, begin to seek improvement, begin to seek advancement in our way of life, in our environment, such that we can also affect other people. And so the Europeans came and they actually ushered us into a formal education, that is the continuation of the Renaissance education. And today we are here. And so what we thought of is we can superimpose this without any form of regeneration of the African personality or the African racial or the black people, the black race racial subconscious mind. And so we inherited all that we have today from our forefathers. We never tried to, regenerate our individual and racial subconscious mind. But if you look at the Europeans, with the ages that I've just shared with you, from the Renaissance to the Reformation, the religious wars and absolutism, from revolutions and then Enlightenment, and it came to this modern world, modern era, which comprises the Industrial Revolution. The people, the mind, the thoughts, the racial subconscious minds of these people have been recalibrated upon ages. From one age to the other, until where they are now. So they have worked on themselves. But Africans, we didn't. But we believe that, we think that we can superimpose, we can actually practice whatever they have imposed on us without first going back to our base to recalibrate ourselves. And that is what we are looking at now. We cannot build a new life upon an old foundation, an old subconscious realities. The subconscious reality of the typical Africans, which all of us are linked to. Yes, education is just as an add-on. It is a dress that has been placed on us. But if you're a black person and you have any kind of dress upon you, the dress doesn't change your skin color. And it is the same way. Education is like a dress that has been put on our body, but our nature is not changed. If we want to change, then we have to do something to our skin color, or to our state. And so, this is the time that we have to become conscious of it, awaken to this, that we will take deliberate steps, concrete steps, by looking into our societies and our communities and begin to move ourselves forward. Every stage, every movement has to be done deliberately with the mind that we are the creators of our realities. And we are just working on ourselves to brighten our corner. And therefore we deserve, it is our divine right to live and live better. And not on the accounts of other people, not on the efforts of other people, but on the efforts of ours, by the correct use of our minds. But we can only do this only when we become awakened to the fact that the human being has a power. The human being's an inherent power. That is your subconscious powers. And whatever thing that you build within, or we build into yourself, is what your subconscious mind will take to create your realities. Our forefathers never worked on themselves. They were more interested in protecting tradition, customs, and all these things. And even right today, we are still in this habit. And this is the time that we have to begin to take the deliberate action to begin to work on ourselves. The development, the life that we are craving for is something that was crafted based on the evolution of the Europeans. And so it is very easy for them to go on and create all these things that we are seeing. But it wasn't created based on our evolution, our subconscious reality. So it is very difficult. It is very hard. As a matter of fact, when we talk of corruption is not an issue in Africa based on the African system. Our forefathers never had that kind of accountability, responsibility. They never had this. All that they were doing was the leaders go to the gods tell them what to do, then once the gods give them instruction, they follow. And so there is nothing like this person has done that, he should be held accountable. Even if there is accountability, the gods hold them accountable. And so you see that our way of life, from the roots upon which we all came from, is not in alignment with the way of life, what we are trying to achieve and enjoy now. And so always we are creating discord. And this is the time that we have to bring ourselves to the table. And we begin this by holding one central thought. And the thought is that we are powerful human beings. An African is a powerful human being, just like the European, just like the Asians. And it is our divine right. It is our divine right to make changes to our lives by the correct use of our minds. And this has to be done by freeing our minds, as observed by Marcus Garvey and Bob Marley, freeing our minds from all things that limit us. And the freeing of our minds is not only about what we think, but we becoming knowledgeable and becoming conscious of the fact that every thought, every pain, every emotion that our forefathers entertained, enjoyed, or endured are with us. And we take the necessary steps to recalibrate our subconscious realities, just as the Europeans did. Every era, every age brought in a new way of thinking, a new way of doing things. And therefore, they are moving themselves forward. And that is how we have to begin. Doing that, we have to analyze our life. We have to analyze our systems. Things that are not working on well, we regenerate them, or we create new ones to replace the old ones. That is the only way we can move forward. And that is the only way that we can bring ourselves up to where the human evolution is. That is a fact. So look into your life. You can go into history. As a matter of fact, our forefathers actually lived they didn't actually have any formal education. They didn't have any way of writing their history. The only history that our forefathers had was by word of mouth. Any recorded history that was done on the soil of Africa was done by foreigners, either through the Arabs or the Europeans that came here. And so it is just simple for us to sit down to do all this analysis and begin to take concrete steps to begin to correct this, such that we can move ourselves to where we want to be. You'll see that Africans, whatever we want to do becomes so difficult in terms of what other people are doing what other people are doing. When it comes to democracy, governance, leadership, the modern system of leadership is not the African leadership. And so you see that an African that is considered as promising, he stands on the platform, make all kind of proclamation, he becomes a leader, then he goes on to do something different because he is not doing what is said by the mouth, but what is controlling him from within, not the subconscious mind. The African leadership style was based on traditions. And so you see our leaders goes there, they become leaders, and they just adopt to easily move into this. So we cannot go forward. We cannot get any meaningful development, any meaningful achievement in all these areas, in terms of leadership, in terms of development, in terms of all these things, without first going down and begin to recalibrate our own subconscious mind. But this cannot be done through formal education, but it can only be done through awareness and empowerment, as we are doing at African Mental Emancipation Movement. This cannot be done through formal education. Now, because we are all individuals, and Africa is not just one tree or a plot of land. Africa is made up of individuals, and therefore it is the individuals that must begin to free their minds. And this has only to be done when we begin to empower one another. Then we emancipate ourselves. Or, if I'm to correct myself, that it cannot be done by through formal education. It can be done through formal education. We consciously adopt the teachings we are propagating as part of our school curriculum, such that we will put these ideas in the minds of our children, and the children that grows to become adults, leaders, they will automatically begin to walk in this direction. As a matter of fact, that is the best way to go. But for now, wherever we are, those of us that have been awakened to this, all that we can do is to create the awareness and to bring you, my fellow African man or woman, your mind, your consciousness to this truth that you are a powerful human being. God created you in His own image and likeness. And He has given you inherent powers. That is your subconscious mind powers. And when we begin to affect one another and we move in this direction, we will free ourselves from everything that collectively we are going through. Let us emancipate ourselves from mental slavery. Mental slavery is not about what people have put us through, but it's about what we have put upon ourselves by our beliefs, by our customs, by our traditions. That is a fact. And so you cannot build a new life upon an old template. The African life, we want to create, we want to maintain our culture, we want to maintain our tradition, but we want to enjoy the modern life. It cannot happen. It cannot work that way. So if you want to be like them, then you have to act and do everything like them. If you want to enjoy the modern life, the modern development, and to be able to create and do exactly as other people are doing, there is no other way than we doing what they have done. And that is conscious regeneration of our communities and societies. Everything in our lives, we take concrete steps by the use of the mind, by not indulging in religious dogmas, not indulging in all these kind of things, such that we will begin to move forward. It is unfortunate that when things becomes difficult in Africa, we are not talking of how we are using our minds to solve it, but you hear acclaimed pastors, politicians calling for all nights, all these things that we are going to pray for solution. That solution will never come. Because God has already done his work. God has already blessed us. He's given us everything. All that we need is the proper use of our minds by connecting to our inner powers and receive ideas to save ourselves. But what do? We are so caught up in religion. We are so caught up in this religion that our forefathers put themselves in that they did nothing. And now the only thing we have done is getting new religion from the Europeans and other places, and then we indulge in them. No, I'm not against religion, but religion must be put into its right perspective. It must be put into its right perspective. There is no way that God will send a solution to Africans to wipe up our problems already made from anywhere from the skies. The solution must come from the minds of the people. The solution must come through the people. And we are Africans. We are suffering. We are having these problems. The solution will automatically must come through us. So there is no need. That's going to do this kind of prayers and all these things. And as I said, that is we're trying to, build a new life, enjoying a certain life based on an old template, as our forefathers used to do. Anything that happens, they go and see the gods. The gods give them instructions, they come and do it, and they stay there, and that is it. Whether it happens or not, that is it. And that's what we are doing. In terms of economic hardship, in terms of difficulties in nations, that is when we call prayers and other things and that. And then we leave our minds down. We don't think. The government alone cannot solve the problem. You, the ordinary man, has a solution. You can think and get an idea and bring the idea. When the idea is developed, you help the government to solve the problem. That is it. And it all comes down to the fact that there has never been a deliberate attempt to regenerate our racial subconscious mind and individual subconscious mind. And therefore, we are still behaving as our forefathers were behaving. This can be corrected. And that is by conscious and deliberate recalibration of our subconscious mind. As a matter of fact, most Africans have not even heard of this concept or what I'm talking about. The indwelling powers, the God nature in every man or woman, which is the subconscious mind. I am not talking about any God. I'm not talking about anything. You have it, I have it. Every human being has it. It is the subconscious mind that maintains us, that keeps us when you are asleep. It is your subconscious mind that keeps you alive. When you are walking, when you are doing anything, it is your subconscious mind that does everything for you to go to toilet, for you to sleep, for you to drink, for everything that you are doing. That is the God, the real person in you, asking for whatever thing that you're supposed to do. And that is your subconscious mind. And that is where our power is. That is where our true nature is. We are connected to our forefathers. And therefore, whichever way that they have behaved, it is with us. And therefore, if we don't make corrections, if we don't take the right actions to cut ourselves off it, we're going to behave in the exact way as they were behaving, even though today we have the education that addresses that we look as if we are polished people, but inwardly we are not. We are the same as them. And that is why if you look in the life of the Europeans, there is always an age, an era that came change the mindset, the thinking process of the people towards a certain direction. And that is what they've done up to today. Even right now, as I'm speaking to you, there is always social experiment in this part of the world, social re-engineering, that they are moving their societies forward. Some of these things comes and Africans will resist it to the latter. And then eventually, when we realize that there is no way, then we accept it. You see? Because we don't actually get up to sit up to analyze our life and to seek ideas, to think how we can move our lives forward. Now is the time. We cannot build a new template. We cannot be successful in democracy. We cannot be successful in modern leadership. We cannot be successful in development until we clear our subconscious mind individually and putting ourselves together collectively as a race, our racial subconscious mind, such that the automatic reaction of the African is creation. The automatic reaction, the automatic thought, the dominant thought in the minds of the African is the creator. That he is a creator. He is a powerful human being, born, made in the image and the likenesses of God, with the powers to create, with the powers to move him or herself to a certain level that he desires. That is why we say we have arrived on the world stage that we can compete with other people. Other than that, we will continue to be dragged upon. We will continue to be dragged along. You will see that any changes that comes in the world, it comes from somewhere. Then it comes to Africa. Then we jump on it. Anything that happens in this world, it comes from other world. Then we jump on it. Now is the time that we have to take deliberate action. All about these things, or some of our cultures, some of our things that we have could be repackaged, could be looked at it in a different way, that if we repackage them, if we regenerate them and give to the world, every man or woman anywhere will accept it. And so let us rise up. Now is the time. The African Mental Emancipation Movement is here. And we are not doing anything different from what Marcus Garvey dreamt of, what Bob Marley dreamt of when he composed his redemption song, that emancipate yourself from mental slavery. None but ourselves can free our mind. There is something that we need to free from ourselves. There is something that our forefathers have implanted in our DNA, our racial DNA, and we need to work on ourselves to free ourselves from that. That is what Marcus Garvey and Bob Marley were talking about. It's not what the Europeans have done to us. It's not what, those ones are not just, but it is what our forefathers have implanted. They are things that are blocking us. They are things that we need to free ourselves from them. And when we free our minds from them, our minds will be clear. When we regenerate our individual subconscious mind and collectively our racial subconscious mind, then that we have the ability, we have the power to rise up and say, I am a man, I am a woman, and it is my divine right to change my life. That is where we are going. So the African Mental Emancipation Movement is here. And we take this opportunity, as you're listening to me, my fellow Africans, we only have to look into our lives. We only have to look at the state of our affairs. And you will see that there is the need for us to begin to take proactive, to take concrete steps towards liberating ourselves and putting ourselves where we belong. And that is what we are doing here. Therefore, I take this opportunity on behalf of all our members to invite you that please click on the subscribe button as you watch this video and join us. Let us bring our mind, let us bring our forces together and move ourselves forward. And it is our dream that one day, across the whole African continent, the power of thoughts, the power of the subconscious mind, the power of thoughts will be a full-fledged courses in all educational institutions at all levels for school children and university students, such that we will bring ourselves to a level, we become conscious and awakened to the power of our minds and our thoughts. For mind is the master, mind rules the world. Therefore, my fellow Africans, rise up, wake up, for mind is the master, mind rules the world. That is my message for you. Now, once again, my name is Emmanuel Kwejo Mensah. I am just one of you. Therefore, I take this opportunity to invite you to join us. I am a co-founder of the Eagle Mentality Group and the African Mental Emancipation Movement. Our drive, our determination is what I've just explained to you, is to create a new Africa, a new black race, people who has the truth, the understanding of the truth, and the belief in themselves that it is our divine right to rise up, to be the partakers in the ever movement of our evolution. That is, we're taking our rightful place in the universe, creating and developing, moving our own self and the whole humanity towards where God intends. And that is intended. That is our dream. Therefore, join us and let us bring these dreams to a fruit. Once again, Africa must develop. And the dream of Dr. Martin Luther King. And one day, the children of the black race, the children of the white race will walk side by side on the land of America. Now is the time for this dream to become a reality on the land of Africa, as it is. Africa is inhabited by only black people. We are stalling the human evolution. And this is the time we have to rise up. When we paint ourselves, when we begin, we create a new template, a new mindset upon which we are building this new life. All men and women will be attracted into our land, such that we will create a multiracial, diverse, multicultural, and multiracial Africa that depicts the glory of God. That Africa will become the center of the glory of God. Africa will become the center of attraction, when all men and women are attracted to us through the law of attraction. Thank you. Once again, you can contact us through the email at the end of this video, or click the subscribe button, and if possible, leave a note, and we will be more than happy to respond. And we'll team up, and one day we will declare freedom at last. Freedom at last. The black man or woman is now free from all the mental bondage, slavery that we have been put in by ourselves. Thank you, and God bless you.